Hey, what's up? lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2001 Disney Pixar animated feature film, hour and 32 minutes long, rated G, Monsters, Inc. Monsters Incorporated. This is an incredible film. This has launched a dynasty in itself. Monsters University is the prequel to this film. That came out in 2013, so that was literally 12 years later. Then there is coming to Disney Plus a Monsters TV series. I'm not 100% sure what it actually is, but then there's like, throughout the different Disney parks around the world, there's different Monsters, Inc. rides. The Monsters ride in Disney's California Adventure Park is so much fun to be on. It's so much fun to be on. It takes you through the first movie. It's just a delight. It's a pure delight. You sit in a taxi cab, a Monstropolis taxi cab to get a tour of Monstropolis, and the story starts out with Boo coming into Monstropolis from the real world, and all hell breaks loose, and then it's Mike and Sully trying to get Boo away from Randall and then back through her door, and then that's the ride. So the movie is about James P. Sullivan, who we call Sully, and Mike Wazowski. They are monsters. So Mike is Sully's coach, his mentor for the scare floor. So they all work at Monsters, Inc., Monsters Incorporated, which is run by Mr. Waternoose, who he inherited from his family. Monsters Incorporated is a scare facility where they scare kids by going through their bedroom doors in the middle of the night. Each kid is assigned his or her or their own monster, and their screams are collected in these scream canisters. The scream canisters are used to power Monstropolis. So power cars, power phones, power lights, power TVs, power everything, right? That's their source of power. So Mike and Sully are on the scare floor. Randall is trying to cheat by getting his scare numbers up. So he takes a door, post scaring hours. It turns out to be this white door. It's got some purple daisies on it. And Sully inadvertently, is like, hey, whose door is this? After Mike asks him to go collect his paperwork and give him to Roz, the secretary. Roz is hysterical. Mike is taking Cece out to dinner for her birthday at Harryhausen's, which is an Asian-infused restaurant filled with monsters, of course. And that's why he asks Sully to just go take the paperwork, give him to Roz. The fuchsias go here, the pink go there, etc. But while Sully was getting the paperwork, he sees the door, asks whose door it is. He then discovers Boo, a little girl, a human girl who is dangerous and poison and toxic, except she's not, because Sully doesn't disintegrate or get rashes or anything when Boo grabs his tail. So he's confused. So he's trying to hide Boo because he knows that there can't be humans in the monster world because it's against company protocol. And the brainwashing of children are bad is just stuck in his mind. So as the story progresses, he takes Boo in a gym bag to Harryhausen's, where then she escapes and causes chaos, and Monstropolis is going crazy. The Harryhausen's scene in the Monsters, Inc. ride at Disney's California Adventure Park, you get smacked in the face with the smell of ginger. It is so immersive, and I just absolutely love it. My brother and I would ride it so many times, and it's joyful. Being on that ride with our parents back in March before the park closed, and the park still is not open because it closed Friday the 13th. That was the last, Friday the 13th. That was the last day that Disneyland was actually open for operations, prior to the COVID-19 pandemic that we are still currently in, but people keep deciding to go out. It's just strange. It was a moment I'll never forget, being on that ride. After Rise of the Resistance, we did other stuff, but then we went as a family on the Monsters, Inc. ride. It was just, warm and fuzzies. I love it. So, movie plot. Mike and Sully then hide Boo in their house, dress her up, try to sneak her back into her door in Monsters Incorporated, and then they kind of play it off as it's, bring your obscure relative to work day. So Mike and Sully then lose Boo, and they have to find Boo. And then Randall gets Boo, and then Waternoose gets Boo, and then it turns out Waternoose and Randall were working together to, kidnap children, to force scares out of them, to make sure the power never goes out. And then Waternoose is caught on tape saying, I'll kidnap 1,000 children if it keeps this company alive. And then he smacks Sully across the face, and then Mike turns to the camera and goes, so, what did we learn from this? Because it was a simulation for, the students, which is so fun. So he was framed. And then they found out that laughter is 10 times stronger than screams. So then the end of the first movie shows everybody on the laugh floor, not the scare floor, thinking of jokes, thinking of pranks. Mike is doing stand-up for this 5-year-old kindergarten kid who then eventually laughs after Mike swallows his microphone. And then at the very, very end, they get the door splinters back from Booze after Roz, who turns out to be the head of the, the child. What is it called? C something? C child something something? Oh, CDC? I want to say it's the CDC, but it might not be the CDC. I feel terrible that I cannot remember because I love this franchise so much. It happens. So Mike gives Sully the last splinter to Boo's door. Sully puts the splinter back in the door. The door is activated. He opens it up, and then we hear Boo go, "Kitty," because that's what she would call Sully. And then he would just smile. And then we all assumed there would be a sequel, and then 12 years later there was a prequel of how they met at Monsters University, which we will talk about next. But in the first movie, Mike was saying something to Sully with like, "You've been jealous of me since the 2nd grade, pal." And then the Monsters University, it was, the trailer referenced that they met in college, but according to that line in Monsters, Inc., they met in 2nd grade, so tomatoes, tomatoes. Monsters University is an incredible film, which doesn't get as enough credit as it deserves, but Monsters as a whole, oh, genius. Mwah, beautiful, excellent, superb. I'm so happy that that ride exists in Disney's California Adventure Park. There should be a ride in every Disney park. I don't know why Florida doesn't have a ride. I think Tokyo's Disneyland has a ride. I think. I love Monsters, Inc. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. So help me. So help me. So help me. Okay. We're good. We're good. I think we're good. Yeah. Okay. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.